Do you wonder how many Pinterest boards should I have? Or how many Pinterest boards should I create for my Pinterest business account? So, hey there, it's Natalie Bardo, your Pinterest coach here. And this is actually a question I got asked twice today. So, I figured it's a sign I should make a video. So, be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy these Pinterest marketing videos and subscribe. So, this is one of those fundamental questions we have when it comes to using Pinterest to grow our blog, our business, or a brand. Any pin needs to be saved to a Pinterest board. So, when it comes to creating Pinterest boards on your account, unfortunately, there's no magic number that's going to universally apply to every single person who's using Pinterest. However, I do believe for most of us, that number is between 5 and 25 Pinterest boards. And hear me out. When we're creating Pinterest boards for our account, it's important that those Pinterest boards actually represent the depth and breadth of our content or products. So, if you're a blogger, how do you organize your blog posts? And do not make one of the most common beginner blogger mistakes that I see, which is to create all these category pages on your site when you only have a couple posts and most of them are pages with nothing on them. We want to avoid that mistake when it comes to having Pinterest boards on our profile. We want these boards to actually have pins in them and not just to be empty. So, another thing to keep in mind is that, yes, when you have a new Pinterest account, you can start with 5 boards, for example. And as the depth and width of your content and products expand, so too can the Pinterest boards you have on your profile. So, another example, say you have a product business. What do you sell? What are the subcategories of those products? That's where I would start with creating your Pinterest boards. And as you expand, as you grow, whether you're creating more content, because creating content is part of a successful Pinterest marketing strategy, no matter if you have a blog, a podcast, a YouTube channel, whether you sell digital products or physical products, we all need to be creating content because having a deep bench of links is very much required for you to be successful on Pinterest without looking spammy. So if we're saving our pins to boards, you can see why having a growing number of boards just makes sense and that it's going to happen naturally as your presence on Pinterest grows. So don't create a whole bunch of boards that are just going to be a ghost town with just one pin or no pins in them. Think about how is your content and or your products being organized right now. Then I would create boards for those names. And of course, you want to make sure your board names are keywords or keyword phrases. So use the Pinterest search bar or Pinterest trends to find a popular phrase that encompasses the purpose of that board. That's how you optimize your Pinterest boards. And that's how we're going to create names. And then, of course, write descriptions for that board that encompasses some of those related keywords. So that's why I'm saying the sweet spot is probably between 5 and 25. Does that mean that you're in trouble if you have more than 25 boards? Of course not. I have more than 25 boards, but I've been on Pinterest for like 8 years. And as my content expands, so too have my Pinterest boards. I have over 500 blog posts. And the same may happen for you. Did you know that you can actually create up to 2,000 Pinterest boards on your profile? Please don't do that. There is absolutely no need. So if you're still not sure how many Pinterest boards you can create, I have a few examples to help you to get started. So for a blogging example, let's use Nina's blog, Nina Out and About. So Nina has these categories: destination, living abroad, Canada, travel resources. So all of these 3 could be board names, but for destinations, we want to create boards based on each destination. So if you're a travel blogger, I would do the same. You have a board for every destination. However, we can see that, for example, if you only have one post for this specific board, that's okay. but I would encourage you to just to create a little bit more content. If you have a board that only has one of your posts, you could also add a little bit more to it. So there's not just one or two pins saved to that board. You can save a couple of popular pins that are trending on Pinterest that are relevant to that particular board title. So say, for example, you're like Vivian Sophia Designs and you create prints, paper goods, ceramics, and jewelry. If we're creating our Pinterest boards, you would create a board for every single one of these categories of your content. So you would have a greeting card board. You would have boards for all your different types of ceramics, okay? And if you have a podcast like Bree at Thrive does, and maybe that podcast, you also have blog posts, for example, we can see that Bree has these categories of her content already laid out on her blog. So you would create Pinterest boards that correspond with all of these different categories. But something I encourage you to do is to hop onto Pinterest, search in the search bar to find the proper keyword phrase for those board names. So remember that Nina has this post on Austria? Okay, I'm gonna type in Austria. We can see that we have Austria, Austria travel. Austria travel is probably the proper terminology. So we could have that as our board name. And then if we're writing our board description, you want to incorporate the relevant related keywords. We can also search here to see what some of these boards on Austria travel. So we can see here that Austria travel is very much popular amongst travel bloggers. So we can see there's a reason for that. Okay. And if we click, there's a little bit more in the description and we can see lots of pins about Austria, for example. If you only have the one piece of content like Nina does, what I would do is to go into Pinterest, not in boards, search all pins and just save a couple of high quality pins to add to your board to give you a little bit more time to add more content. So make sure when you're creating your boards that you just optimize. And whether or not you have 5 boards or 25 boards or maybe 50, it's not so much the number of boards, but rather that if you have those Pinterest boards, they're active, you're saving pins to, it accurately represents your content and your products. So figure out what that magic number is for you, and likely it's going to grow as your time on Pinterest grows. So I hope this video was helpful for you in terms of figuring out how many Pinterest boards you need. And if you have any questions, you can leave them for me in the comments down below. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up button on this video if you found it helpful, and stick around. You might also enjoy this video. So bye for now. I'll see you in the next one.